Hello and welcome to Funky Junk. My name is Michael and today we're going to be taking a look at the Mercury 666 Studio Limiting Amplifier. So this is a mono compressor based upon the lesser known and extremely rare Fairchild 666. Unlike the Delta Mu style compressors, the 660 and the 670, the original 666 actually used a hybrid design, which meant it used both a tube and solid state circuitry in its audio path. Used by the likes of Abbey and perhaps more famously Michael Brauer as part of his multi-bus compression rig. They sounded fantastic, but were notoriously awkward to use. They weren't particularly user-friendly. They weren't built to be particularly hands-on. So what Mercury have done very cleverly is they've sort of harnessed all of the sonic goodness of the original, and then they've added a host of modern day sort of additions, making the unit both more usable, more user-friendly, but also a lot more flexible in a modern studio environment. So let's take a little look. We'll go through some of the features and we'll take a look at the front panel to start with, a lot of which will be familiar and fairly self-explanatory. But we'll start on the left here, so you've got a nice big sort of analog VU meter. Underneath, you have the ability to link two units. So you can use this in stereo operation with a second unit if you require. You then have a zeroing dial for the meter. So if you need to calibrate your meter at the beginning of a session, you can do so very easily. The option to toggle between both output and gain reduction metering. Along the top here, we have threshold control. You have attack and release settings. So on the original Fairchild 660, you had 6 programs or time constants, which varied between very fast attack and release settings to slow to very slow. And what Mercury have done, they've added an additional 5 programs here for, again, sort of even greater versatility in a modern day sort of scenario. So that's very nice to see. Next to this, you have your output gain adjustment. You then have a DC adjust dial, which I'm going to come back to very shortly. Starting along the bottom, you then have a sidechain filter, which switches between 150 to 90, or you can just have it off. Next to this, you have your insert on-off toggle. So if you're using this as part of a send and return setup, you can switch into insert mode. And then rather uniquely, something we don't often see on compressors or limiters, especially sort of vintage inspired ones, you have a Baxendale EQ circuit. So this is a very simple high and low shelving EQ. But what's unique about Baxendale EQs, or what's sort of preferable about a Baxendale EQ, is it's a very natural sounding EQ. It allows you to sort of boost your highs or cut and boost or cut your lows without causing any sort of unusual phase anomalies or strange behavior. And it can just be a really nice way of enhancing a source without sort of any perceivable issues. So if you want to add any presence or sparkle to a source or added weight, or likewise if you want to cut any of the muddiness out of sort of, low-end heavy sources, then you can do so very easily. So this is really nice. It's not something we often see, and yeah, a great addition. Next to that, you have a bypass toggle. Then you have a mix dial. Again, a welcome addition, something you don't always see, allowing you to sort of dial between your wet and your dry mix. So just returning briefly to the DC adjust, this is something you don't often see. In fact, Mercury do have it on quite a lot of their equipment. And effectively what this does is it allows you to adjust the amount of DC current being pushed into the compression. So simply put, it kind of allows you to tweak the character of the compression style. For instance, if you want a cleaner, more transparent compression style, you would probably lay off the DC adjust, draw that back. And likewise, if you want to drive the compression a little bit harder, you can increase your DC adjust accordingly. So really nice. And again, kind of goes back to the kind of main appeal of the 666 is that it is a very versatile sounding compressor. It's capable of doing clean and relatively transparent, but it can also, you can smash drums on the parallel bus if you need to. You can get quite a heavy pumping compression style if required. You then have your power toggle and a nice big vintage dual LED light. On the rear of the unit, we have an IEC connection with switchable voltage for multi-region compatibility. You then have your line input and output on gold-plated XLR connections, a send and return XLR point, and a stereo link on jack for linking to a second unit. So that's it for the key features of the unit. Let's hear it in action. So there it is, the Mercury 666 studio limiting amplifier. We're very excited to have the entire Mercury range available here at Funky Junk. And in fact, we have the 666 available to demo in both our Milan and London showrooms currently. So if you want to hear it in person and test it out for yourself, then there's a link in the description below. Go there, book a demo, and yeah, come get hands-on with it. But for now, that's it from us. Don't forget, if you'd like to see more content like this, like and subscribe in all the sort of usual places. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.